Dave, I'm so lucky to be here with you. Hey, Dave Seber, everybody, of Hemp Shield. But not only are you the creator of Hemp Shield, which truly is America's first and most viable hemp product on a commercial level, on an industrial level, and it's a straight up going to give the competitors, the petrochemical competitors, a run from their money right off the bat. But you have also created even the first MDF, medium density fiber board. Tell us about that.
We worked with Washington State University Wood Materials and Engineering Lab back in the early 1990s. We were lucky that we got to work with Mr. Tom Maloney, who was he just recently passed away, but he really was the modern Einstein of the whole composite industry, and he was willing to take us on and to develop the product, and we ended up demonstrating to the whole world that hemp fiber works in building materials and composites at least as good, if not better than wood. And not only that, it's the only installed fiber-based manufacturing base in the world that can use the hemp fiber as it is.
Amazing. So this is really the first MDF. We've all got it in our homes. Dave was making it in 1996 at Wazoo. 92 even.
And the reason why I picked MDF, because MDF is sort of like the flagship product of the composite industry. And the truth of it is, to a composite manufacturer, if you can make MDF, you can make any composite. So I wanted us to have a level of credibility with something that, while Jack Harara, who inspired me to do this, and he wrote his wonderful book, you could still criticize it in the sense that it was all historical. So I wanted to make us something in modern terms that no one could say, well, just because you read it in a book. And not only that, we were acknowledged. I wrote a paper and a presentation on this at the International Composite Symposium, which was also held up in Pullman and was published by the Forest Products Society. So we got it to the highest level of credibility. So nobody could ever say again that all the arguments for industrial hemp were only historical. We had the real proof, and everybody in the industry knew it. The 500 top manufacturers and production managers of all the major composite plants in the world came to the symposium and saw my prototype.
So it's amazing to me, even moving now up to the modern Hemp Shield, you're wearing your logo right now.
Absolutely.
So we are so grateful to you for now moving from the fiber, medium density fiber board, now to the hemp seed, making your product with hemp seed oil. So right here in Oregon, we really have a great industrial hemp scientist, and it was really important for us to get folks to know that really you have been at this for decades on a huge, important level that has just made a tremendous impact. We're talking about the first MDF at university in 1992. So moving forward, as I like to say, when we are talking about the cannabis plant species here, so talking about the drug type for a second, as marijuana is the great synthesizer of people, we have discovered through Hemp Shield that hemp seed oil is also the great synthesizer of even chemicals, inorganic compounds.
Absolutely. The truth of it is, we had no inkling when we first started to make this stuff of what it was going to come out. It didn't just test as good as 5 or 10%. It is hundreds of percent. It is magnitudes better than anything else that's on the market. And again, it was the confluence, whatever you want to call the hemp goddess loves me, I don't know what to tell you, but that I had a connection with one of the great paint chemists of the world, and he figured out how to do this, and we have now opened up a complete new category for industrial hemp. And it actually transcends just building materials, because remember, anything made out of wood. I'm talking guitars, I'm talking any kind of wood thing at all, you want to seal it with Hemp Shield.
Absolutely, and I think what is really fascinating is that the two of you sat there discovering, as you're creating Hemp Shield, that adding the hemp seed oil to it, all of a sudden, these inorganic compounds, the properties that these incredible scientists who you know, which by the way, of course, you both co-teach at the OSU, really that whole industrial oil application piece of the industrial hemp course, which is the only industrial hemp course on the planet right now. So you're sitting there discovering, he's been watching these properties of these inorganic compounds and materials for years. Here you introduce hemp seed oil into them. You watch together as now those properties that he's been watching behave the same way for years, behave differently, behave better, more cooperatively.
I'm telling you, if even for them, and for him, it was an eye-opener. And not only did it work better and all those traditional things, but it did a synergy with all the chemicals this guy has spent 30 years, my partner, in a career as a world-famous paint chemist. He had stored up all these concepts of all these different components that he wanted to use, which he put all together in Hemp Shield. So Hemp Shield represents the total pinnacle of the state of the art of what could be in terms of a coating right now.
It's so true, and I always feel, I don't mean to be disingenuous in my presentations, but it seems like it will turn into a Hemp Shield commercial. But I can only have Hemp Shield to demonstrate to people the efficacy and what we're really talking about in terms of revolutionizing wooden deck sealers, for instance. The fact that Hemp Shield would take only one coat instead of two coats as compared to its petrochemical competitors. The fact that it lasts 3 years instead of 1.5, right there is money and a labor savings. And so this is tremendous for our economy, for homeowners, for consumers. The fact that it penetrates the wood as opposed to just coating it and has that natural UV protection. So we're talking revolutionizing wood sealers.
And the truth of it is that I invented Hemp Shield. I consciously tried to design the first hemp-containing product to cross over to the general public, because we need the general public to know that there is more involved to the cannabis than the recreational or the medicinal. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but there's much more involved. So that's why I invented Hemp Shield, to cross over, so that everybody knew there was something going on here that was bigger than anything that they had heard about in the news.
And you know, I think a great way to wrap up, because you are such a tremendous mentor to all of us in the hemp movement. We really know here what the order of things, how we're really going to move this industry forward in the fastest, most effective way, which would also, in fact, be great for the environment. And because these sort of 3 steps are such an important message for the hemp movement and the development of a successful hemp industry and job creation and economic stimulation, would you like to sort of summarize these steps, starting with, of course, hemp biochar?
Yes, that I realized very soon after I had done my original work with Washington State that the scale of fiber that we needed in order to serve that industry was unbelievably giant, and we were not going to get there. We needed a sequence of products, intermediate products that we could use so the farmers could develop their crops, stay profitable the whole time, and start from there. So what we're saying is the first product to make is biofuels and biochars, because this is in the realm of a reality that everybody could use via pyrolysis. And a pyrolysis plant could support as many as 10, maybe even 20 family farmers. That's what we want, so that we can start somewhere and start to build up the crop. The next thing that we want to make after that is blown insulation, where we use hemp and lime technology in the simplest way to replace the current blown insulation, which is made out of fiberglass, which is very, very bad stuff, or recycled newsprint, which is also not sustainable. So I put out a thing, we know a series of products that, if grown for in that series, that we can keep the farmers right where we want them, the family farmers can participate, and we can build up this crop to the point where we can take on world-class based industries like the composite industries. And that's where we're going.
That's the method.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Hemp, hooray, and hooray for Hemp Shield.